Let's begin what's trending in Benue State, where the state government has declared today, June 18th, a public holiday to honor President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's visit to the state. The visit, which comes in response to recent deadly attacks by suspected criminal headers in Yelewata and Daudu communities in Guma Local Government Area of the state, resulting in over 150 deaths, has been met with mixed reactions. The secretary to the Benue State government, Deborah Abba, announced the holiday, urging residents to come out in large numbers to welcome the president and his entourage. Meanwhile, the state government is reportedly mobilizing support groups to organize a colorful welcome for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. In an official letter dated June 17th, the senior special assistant to the governor on Special Groups Mobilisation invited registered support groups to form a colorful procession and wear designated uniforms to receive the president. In the letter, the parade is expected to start from the airport and proceed all the way to the government house in Makurdi, where the president is scheduled to attend a town hall meeting. The letter has since gone viral, with many criticizing the Benue State government. Let me take Adekunle's tweet. He wrote, "There is something fundamentally wrong with our society. Unfortunately, it affects both the leaders and those appointed to work with them. How on earth will anyone endorse such a memo of funfair to welcome the president when it ought to be a gathering of sober reflection and action to prevent further massacre of Nigerians?" Finbai, have you heard of anything this absurd? This is quite ridiculous. I mean, I believe that this memo, the reason I brought up this story, is for the Benue State government to either debunk it or withdraw that absolute nonsense.
Well, I'm sure we'll see visuals of the president arriving shortly, and we'll be able to see what they have in store. But this is so insensitive. It is deplorable. It is the worst possible choice that one can make at this particular juncture. Let's start with the public holiday. Why? First of all, families are in mourning. When you look at the number that have died, not just in the last spate of attacks, but in a broader sense, the number is in the thousands, which means that there's no family in Benue State that has not been affected by these killings, whether it be directly or indirectly. So this is supposed to be a time of grief and mourning. What we would expect is that even before the president came, the state maybe should have actually taken a day out to mourn, a day of grief, and a day to honor those who have lost their lives needlessly during these attacks. That's number one. Number two is, you know, this spirit of Ashwebi. Ashwebi is such a wonderful thing, but we really need to figure out when it's appropriate and when it's not appropriate. I know they're not calling for actual Ashwebi fabric, but the concept is, you know, different groups wearing different colors. It's the general concept of Ashwebi. And you know, we normally see Ashwebi, you know, when the children are kidnapped and they bring them back, they give them Ashwebi. It's misplaced. It's absolutely misplaced. And this is not the time nor the day. Let's not shift the conversation away from the things that matter. The citizens, yes, you're more than welcome. It's important for you to welcome your president and honor him as he is coming to show solidarity with you. But there's a reason why black is the color of grief, and that's the color that they would need to, so that the president can also understand how serious the issue is. I saw videos of people sweeping. That's another thing. They've now sent people to start cleaning the state. Why was your state not clean to begin with? You should have been consistent with the maintenance of it. Now you want to, you know, as Africans, I know I'll round up very quickly, I know you want to move on, but as Africans, we also have a major problem, because African homes, most times, no matter what we're going through, when we have visitors, we bring out our best cutlery, our best this, our best that, our best. It's African tradition to almost try to hide our shame. But this is not the time to do that. When your father, quote unquote, in the embodiment of the president is coming, is your time to cry at his feet. And this is our problem, not to, you know, put Vaseline on your face and make sure your face looks shiny so that he thinks that everything is in a better state than it. He needs to see the state for what it is.
Absolutely, and I love your point. Black is the color of mourning, and that's what the people of Benue should have done while the president is there. In the meantime, Labour Party leader Peter Obi has commended President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for visiting Benue State. In a post on X, Obi urged Tinubu to also visit flood-ravaged communities in Niger State, saying that the president's presence in these devastated and grieving communities will be very reassuring and uplifting. His post reads in part, both Benue and Niger States have lost over 200 lives each due to recent tragedies in Mokwa alone. More than 200 people were confirmed dead and over 1,000 are still missing following the floods. These are not just statistics. They are the lives of Nigerian families torn apart and their communities destroyed. Highlighting that President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa recently visited flood victims in his country, Peter Obi stated that if the South African president could do it, we trust that you, as our own president, can do the same for your people. Let your visit to Mokwa send a strong message that all Nigerian lives matter and that no community, no matter how rural, is forgotten. Please also consider stepping up security across the country, especially in disaster-prone area. We look forward to seeing not leadership by remote control, but proactive leadership that responds not just with words, but with compassion and action. Meanwhile, a video featuring a survivor of the deadly attack in Yelewata sharing his harrowing experience has gone viral. In the video, the survivor, Michael Aja, said he lost 20 members of his family. He recounted how their homes were set ablaze by suspected herdsmen, adding that 11 members of his family died in one house. Aja also lost all his goods and property during the attack. He spoke with News Central. Let's take a look.
My whole family members that died yesterday, day before yesterday, on that very day, there were 20. That is my own family members. I'm not talking about any other thing. That is my own family members. This is my store. They burn my clothes, they burn everything, they burn our food, all my family members. What we kept out with is our clothes, what we wear. On that very day, rain started in the evening. So we entered, I slept there. So I was sleeping around 10:20. We had gunshot at back there. So before we could notice that something is happened, Fulani men, they entered this place.
How are you sure they are Fulani men?
Because they were speaking and I was inside the room and I heard them clearly. Not somebody told me. I was inside the room there and they surrounded that room. I escaped narrowly. My brothers born in this house. Some escaped. My dad born in this house.
My heart goes out to this young man, Michael Aja, losing 20 members of his family. Rufai Oseni, I'd like to bring you into this conversation. I'd like your thoughts on all the stories that I've read so far. We're seeing that, the Benue state government is declaring a public holiday today, and that memo that went out asking, support groups to come adorned in colorful outfits. While we see Michael Aja here recounting his harrowing experience of how he lost 20 members of his family. Your thoughts?
If the color of blood is red, and the color of blood is everywhere in Benue because of the killing, isn't that enough need to introspect before the sycophancy that I see coming out of the state government? These are lives that you will never get back. Look at that man that said he lost 20 people in his family. Do you know the emotional trauma and pain he will live with for the rest of his life? Do you know the nightmare? Do you even care how he sleeps? And some people have the nerve to start a jamboree because the president is coming for a day of mourning. The president, please, is not coming to commission laudable projects of the Benue state government. The president is there to see the blood of the Benue people that wash their land because of the failure of their government and their country. The president is coming there because a country they pledge their allegiance to has failed them, not one, not two times. In the space of 2 years, over 1,000 people have been killed and millions, thousands have been displaced in that area. It is a day of sorrow. The blood of the people of Benue washes that ground they will be stepping on. But people are more concerned about jamboree. For what they have done, to even think and attempt to do like a jamboree, they have allowed the people in that area to die again. When are we going to stop this madness we do in our country? When are we going to stop this over-subservience to power when we need to solve the problem and speak truth to power? The reason for the problems in Benue can also be attributed to this sycophancy that we're seeing by these people. This same government that allegedly wrote that letter have not been able to tell us if they've gathered any intelligence as regards the people that perpetrated that heinous act. They are so quick to roll out the drum and declare public holiday. Did they declare a public holiday to mourn the people of Benue when they were killed? Did they declare a public holiday to mourn the people when they came out to protest? Didn't the security agents stop the people from protesting by shooting them with tear gas? What country are we running? When will this level of sycophancy stop?
Well said, Rufai. Well, in the same vein, the Minister of Interior, Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, has criticized the porous nature of Nigeria's borders and the underfunding of the police, identifying them as major threats to national security. Speaking at a recent event, Tunji-Ojo highlighted the inadequacy of the 10 billion naira allocated to the Nigerian Immigration Service to secure Nigeria's vast 4,024 square kilometer border, stating that such porous borders allow for easy infiltration of criminals and exacerbate existing security challenges. He emphasized the need for a realistic approach to tackling the issue, warning that if borders remain permeable, the efforts of the military in combating terrorism will be undermined by a continuous influx of new threats. Let's take a look before we come back for a discussion.
If you look at the 2025 budget, how much do you even have for border security? That's the truth. The whole budget of Nigerian Immigration Service is less than, it's about, the capital budget is less than 10 billion or something. And you want to protect 4,024 square kilometers of our border space. Are we joking? When you kill one terrorist and the border is porous, 20 will come in and the military are challenged. So for us, we need to be very realistic with ourselves. Do we want a system that works, or we just want to play, to the gallery? We have some of the most brilliant people in our DSS. We have our NIA doing fantastically well. You can see the kind of leadership that the NSA is providing. But the simple truth is that when we talk about security, internal security, the first thing that comes to a Nigerian mind is the military. That is a sign of failure of our internal security agencies. Let's tell ourselves the truth. I do not see a reason why our police, for instance, should even rely on budgetary allocation. Let's call a spade a spade.
Let's call a spade a spade. I think Olubunmi Tunji here makes a brilliant point. I mean, only recently we touched on the Benue State governor saying that, it's because of the lack of security within our borders, these people are coming, and the threats are new threats. There need to be more funding for the security of our borders. Our international correspondent, really quickly, and then we move.
No, I think he makes an excellent point. If we are talking about the seriousness of security and insecurity in various parts of the country, one of the first ways that we have to tackle it is making sure that our borders cease to be as porous as they are, or stop being porous altogether. So I think he makes an excellent point. Yes. And as he said quite passionately, if our first place to resort to when we're talking about security is the military, then of course that underscores a failure of a greater extent. So I agree with what he says, and I also appreciate the passion by which he's made his point.
Yes, we're calling for funding, right, really quickly.
Calling for funding, and it somewhat echoes what the Chief of Defence Staff had said a couple of weeks ago when he was saying that it might be time for Nigeria to start fencing the borders, to create some type of a border wall. I know it's controversial in some countries, but the conversation needs to be had. However, this particular Minister of Interior has done wonders. There's a lot of work to be done, but I just want to acknowledge the fact that he has done incredible with the immigration system. He has now moved things to an e-visa system. It actually works efficiently. I know people who've been traveling in daily and have been able to get their visas electronically and so forth. So, he has valid points, but there's just so much work that needs to be done, especially with regards to making sure that you have the right foreigners who are well vetted and well documented coming into Nigeria and not exceeding their stay and not perpetuating criminality in Nigeria as well.
All right, fantastic. I guess kudos goes to Olubunmi Tunji Ojo. Well, let's head over to Delta State now, where the police fired tear gas at hundreds of protesters from Kwale, in Ndokwa West local government area of the state, who trooped out in protest over a power outage that has lasted over 16 years. The protesters say that despite hosting a 480 megawatt plant for over a decade, their communities remain in darkness. They are demanding that the independent power plant in Okpe set up its electricity supply to their communities. The protesters barricaded the Ugeli-Asaba Expressway, carrying placards with messages like, "Light up Ndokwa Nation," and "Electricity in Ndokwa land, enough is enough." Let's take a look.
On us. They are protesting peacefully here. They came and started shooting off tear gas. This is the evidence. Look at the evidence. Look at the evidence. Look at what the Delta State government are doing to us. Look at what they are doing to us. Look at the evidence. This is tear gas. This is tear gas.
We came out to a peaceful protest, demanding our rights that for over 20 years, when the IPP phase 1 has been completed, we requested a simple request: step down the IPP for us, as demanded by the federal government. We are not here to destroy any person's property. We are not here for a violent protest. But as you can all see, the police have started shooting even both tear gas and live ammunition at peaceful protesters. And we've been peaceful, no destruction of lives and property. But what we are saying now is the army and the police have turned it to a violent protest.
Federal government have been marginalizing this environment. The 3 local government arms of Ndokwa Nation, both in multinational and non-indigenous OjyOkpe, they have been adamant to our plight. We are here to fight for Ndokwa Nation. We want light. Light number 1.
They're right. I mean, I'm so disappointed in the police force, and I'm sure that the police in that area are from Ndokwa. 16 years of no light, and you dare fire tear gas at peaceful protesters. These protesters say that despite the Okpe IPP supplying power to over 9 other states, including Abuja, the Ndokwa Nation remains in darkness. I did, over the weekend on Sunday, June 8th, interview the Deputy Governor of Delta State, John Onyeme. On the Sunday morning show, he said that the government is working in collaboration with BEDC to ensure that electricity will be restored within 2 months. Let's take a snippet of that interview.
As I'm talking to you, I have promised the contractors of BEDC that from Tuesday, after the public holiday of Monday, they will get an advance from me, from government, to go and kickstart that job. We are sure that within the next 1 or 2 months, electricity will be restored. We have also agreed to pay, as agreed with them, a portion of that areas of what they were owing, or what our people were owing.
I would like to hold you to account. You have promised here that within the next 2 months, the people of Ndokwa will have electricity. Is that what I'm holding on to right now?
Yes, you can hold me to that. I have had personal, it's not that I sent somebody, I've had discussion with contractors of BEDC, and we have come to an agreement. We've costed what it will take, and we have come to an agreement. And my governor has given me the go-ahead to implement.
Thank you.
And I'm going ahead to implement. So to that extent, you can hold me accountable.
All right, Rufai, I would like to bring you into this conversation. Like I said, I spoke with John Onyeme there, and he did also talk about the fact that he's spoken with the people of Utagogwe to install an IPP. But this is absolutely absurd, that we are seeing a community in Nigeria living in darkness for 16 years, yet the police had the guts to fire at peaceful protesters protesting their fundamental rights. I mean, the history behind the Ndokwa Nation being in darkness is, it dates back to, over a decade of non-payment of electricity. But, you know, you heard the protester there saying that they supply 9 other states, including Abuja, electricity, and yet they remain in darkness. Rufai.
Oji, see, there are some good eggs among the police, but what we should ask ourselves is that the reaction to every protest is always tear gas. Can the police handle a protest better? So we should introspect. Is it a funding problem or is something with procedures? Secondly, Oji, I've been to that area. In fact, you took me to around Ndokwa when we went for funerals of our great mother. Oji, is Ndokwa an oil-producing area or not?
Of course it is, Rufai. Of course it is.
So this is what Ndokwa gets for being an oil-producing area and an area that houses an electricity plant and they don't have access to power. And when the people speak up, you tear gas them, you are saying they are causing disorder. So what do people even benefit from being Nigerians? Work in no day, light in no day, water in no day. So what does Ndokwa benefit for being an oil-producing area if they can't have electricity supply for basic small businesses to be able to go about their businesses? So when a lot of people are shouting that there's inequality in this country, they will say, no, you don't say that, you don't like the government. They will abuse you and say, oh, Rufai, your mouth is too big. But is this not a ticking time bomb that Ndokwa, that is an oil-producing area, that this country has enjoyed the rich resource of Ndokwa, and you even had the deputy governor in that interview, that will it be fixed? He said yes. Till today, does not have stable electricity, and you expect the people not to talk? You must call us fools in this country to think that we are all stupid. I think our leaders probably just think we are stupid and we are a set of idiotic animals. Please, whatever it is that we ensure that we bring power back to Ndokwa, power must come back to Ndokwa.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
So what do people benefit? Okay, what do you benefit as a citizen of this country?
That's the right question, Rufai. And like I said in that interview, we're holding the governor of Delta State because his deputy was on the show on Arise News saying that in 2 months, that's less than a month now, there'll be electricity in Ndokwa.